Harry, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here, and my gosh, all the stuff you have going on here, I'm like, I kind of want to live here. It's really cool. It's really good stuff, man.
Just kids with fake IDs. Houston was big and we could disappear. Neighbors don't mug, don't even draw near. We can bus it out to Shreveport, meet with Jimmy and see what he sold. And if they're playing in town, we'll see a little band of gold. Try our luck at the slots, sleep all the way home. The station's just a 2-mile walk from our door. We never leave a car at the Greyhound lot. Henry says you might as well leave it unlocked. Henry's always got us a new set of wheels. Loves to strike his own kind of deals. This one's hot out of Phoenix. He'll roll it slow, make a show. It's a 65 Ford, valet tag on the floor. We're gonna go downtown, cruise it around, drive it to the coast, leave it for the beach folks. Trade a pole wagon with a picnic in the back and see what kind of toys the kids dig these days. Then we'll throw them out the window on the Gulf Coast Highway. So much trash out there, no one could tell anyway. Sunday night, I always call home. It's always Mom who picks up the phone. Tell her I'm good and I'll visit soon. Same thing I've said for years. She'll try to muffle those snot-nosed tears. She knows I can't stand to hear. Well, Henry's never been much of a flirt, so I never had to worry about him chasing skirts. Him and me is all we need. Henry's new best friend is just the next sucker looking for a fix for a holding brother. Me and Henry were just like Bonnie and Clyde. Mad for dead presidents taking on the slide. Only things we ain't got banks in our sights. Just cars and fiends and hungry eyes. Just cars and fiends and hungry eyes. Yeah, Henry and me, we got a good thing together. Back in 98 we left for warmer weather. Just kids with fake IDs. Him and me, that's all we need.
I had those lovely Oklahomans backing me up when I was here for Summer Breeze a couple of summers ago, and I just got a text from Buffalo on the way here that he had planned to be here with us tonight, but he had to sit it out. But you guys are sure lucky to have a lot of really great musicians around here, you know. Unlike Austin, you know.
You say your sweet lies, and don't place your hand in mine. When tomorrow you fly, and it's all come down to boxes and books, guilt-laced looks. It's your truck full in the drive. And it's all come down to names and faces, places we've never been. It's come down to goodbye. Well, no use trying to explain. The sky is never the same, and nothing gold ever stays. Summer succumbs to autumn's flame, and it's all come down to boxes, books, guilty, sorry looks. It's your truck full in the drive. And it's all come down to names and faces and places we've never been. It's come down to goodbye. Yeah, and it's all come down to piles of paper, postcards from the wasted years. And it's no more one last try. Yeah, and it's all come down to rings on the table and debts you can't ever pay off. 'Cause it's come down. Yeah, baby, it's come down to this. It's come down to goodbye.
Well, for anyone like Trina, who I've known for a while, or if you've known me for a while, you'll know that a long time ago, I used to put out records like pretty frequently. And then I got into this cycle of like making record after record and not releasing them. And the only saving grace in that was that none of them were crowdfunding campaigns. So at least I didn't know anybody anything, you know? Just saved up and spent my money, and then I'd save up again. And then I'd never, no one ever said that, you know, it really takes a great amount of business acumen to decide to go into this business. It's preferable, but most of us don't have it. Or even if you do have it, you still let the artist voice win out, which is why you do this, you know. But after 11 years, I finally did put out a record last year, and it was actually one that I had started about a dozen or more years earlier with my friend Will Sexton, who used to live in Austin, and it was kind of we realized how long it had been, because when we made that record, or started making it, we recorded like 4 songs from it. He lived in Austin for several years after those sessions, and then he got married and moved to Memphis and had lived there for a decade. And then was like totally established in the Memphis studio scene by the time we revisited it. So he had whole new players to bring. And it was just such a treat, though, to reunite with somebody I'd played in a band with, and doing shows together for about a decade when he was living in Austin, and somebody who you feel like family with in that way, and who's known you from the beginning of my playing out. It just felt like this very safe place to record, and I was very grateful for that. But and so I did this song that is kind of unusual for my catalog, because most of my songs are sad.
Point your gold stars out one by one. Show me the good that you've done. Then turn me around. I'll close my eyes and let you make me dizzy. Point out all the things that make you feel proud of the work you do. Then turn me around. I'll close my eyes and let the world slide. It's a safe place. It's a safe space. You're safe to shine. No one here to make you fear the other fall, the other shoe, the slip, the trick, the laugh when you leave the room. Tell me about the time you tried something scary and a little unwise. Did it pay off so big, or did you fall so hard you thought you'd die? Well, you should know I'm just like you, afraid to dream and want things too. But hunger and thirst are in us just to help us survive. It's a safe place. It's a safe space. You're safe to shine. No one here to make you fear the other fall, the other shoe, the trick, the switch, the laugh when you leave the room.
I hope some of you know I have two of my best friends are great songwriters named Jamie Harris and Bonnie Whitmore. I'm glad you guys know them because they are truly awesome. And a few years ago, they decided that I needed a title, and that title was the Queen of the Bummer Jam. And which I really like for a lot of reasons. But the funny thing was that we were kind of laughing about it, and we were kind of joking about it all night. And then I finally said, "Wait, why Bummer Jam?" And Jamie goes, "Because, dude, like, you play a new song." And wait, you guys know Jamie, right? A bunch of you. Okay, so you know that I'm talking like her, and I'm not just making fun of her. Okay, dude, you like play a new song, and I'm like, it's a jam. And then I learn it, and I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. And I was just like, loved that so much. And Bonnie was like, yep. And I was like, oh my God, I love my friends so much. And then, it turns out that my Jamie, a few years ago, moved from Austin to Nashville to be with her partner, Mary. And Bonnie is now in the process of moving to LA. And I'm just like, why are they all leaving me? But so the other night, Bonnie, one of her last residency shows in Austin, she had Graham Weber, who's also one of my first musical friends in Austin ever, and I, both as her guests. And the three of us, if we're in the same room, and especially if we're playing together, we're joking so much between songs. And it was the most dreadful show that you could have possibly attended, because in between all three of our very sad songs, we were like, wow, I can't believe you're moving, man. It's really a bummer. And people out there were like, should we stay? But Bonnie had requested that I play Gold Stars, to like bring everybody encouragement or something. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I haven't played it in a while. And so I relearned it, by the way, after that, because I was embarrassed. But then just now playing it, I was like, God, this is one of my most encouraging songs, and it's still kind of a weeper. And that hadn't really occurred to me until here with you. So good to know that even when I'm trying to make you happy, there's just not much I can do. That wasn't an age crack. That was just, making people sad no matter what. Might help.
Johnny's broker than hard up. Church mouse is better fed. Less than nothing's what he's in. Right, he's in the red. On the corner with a box of tools. Jobs won't come his way. No one picks him up, but the bad luck blues, he was standing there all day. He's got one thing. Well, he's got love. He's got one thing. There's one thing to know. Sylvie's wearing her apron, forgot to hang it before she left. Wore it all the way home on the #1 bus, tied around a thin black dress. On the couch with the lights low, smoked enough to feel alright. Knock on the the door, meets Johnny's comes to pass her daddy into the night. Well, she's got one thing. Well, she's got love. Yeah, she's got one thing. There's one thing I know. Silly and Johnny since high school, crazy how 8 years fly. Friends say they look just the same, but you change when life passes you by. Can't get their own place, can't buy gold rings, haven't got a clue what getting ahead in life's supposed to bring. But they got one thing. Well, they got love. Yeah, they got one thing. There's one thing I know. If it's love.
And the answer is no. I used to let that lie as a rhetorical, but since a man with whom y'all are pretty familiar has continued to climb in power, despite asking questions such as, what was we ranked? I feel like you can't really leave everything to common sense anymore. You just go ahead and spell some things out, you know. I say that as someone with deep empathy. I mean, we've got plenty of special people south of the river, too. That was pretty good, though, I mean. Though. I'm sorry, what?
It's a brother who never writes anymore. The uncle you never heard mentioned before. The man you didn't know left when you were born. The mom who leaves her child behind the store. Life don't work out like the plans you'd drawn. Had yourself some dreams, now the wishing well's gone. Family can't make things work on the farm. Big city living can't keep you warm. 100 different ways of being alone. What you thought was true love left you wanting more. A girl sits alone on her living room floor. Boy turns away before he knocks knocks on her door, and the neighbors don't ask what he's there for. Well, you leave this town, but there's nowhere to run. Things you used to love don't bring no fun. Sick of wishing every night you had someone, called everyone you know, but nobody's home. 100 different ways of being alone. Ooh, 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 ooh. Well, a new man in town's got your girl on his arm. That careless thing you said caused so much harm. Nothing's the same as where you come from. Still, that beat you're walking to ain't such a different drum. Well, you tried to be a new voice, your song ain't your own. Tried to make a mark, but you're still unknown. Trying to take a chance, now that bird has fallen. Nothing near for you but rag and bone, in 100 different ways being alone. Ooh, 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 ooh.
I love it when people woo for like really depressing things. Because it's like, to me, honestly, it makes me feel good the same way that when I was like 11, I'd listen to a sad song over and over and over again, you know. It's just knowing somebody else out there gets it, you know, it feels really good. Like, ha, we're all miserable. Of course, that's not really it, you know. It's more like, we don't all have to hide our feelings all the time. It's more, you know, like, it's good to know. But please try to most of the time. No, I'm kidding. I'm just Oh, that's what that is. Actually, I just realized these two songs that I'm going to do from the new record, I don't think I have them in this order on the record, but it feels like the story would work better if I went and changed this order right now. So I'm doing a little narrative restructuring. Hold on a moment.
Is there someone waiting, counting minutes ticking by, for a ring to come through, for a voice on the line? There's a message sewn in secret with the strings of her heart, trace lines left by Cupid's needle when you're feeling far apart. Why would I wanna know? Why would I wanna know? If there's a memory made with her, held in your mind so dear, some memento that you treasure hiding in plain sight round here, some keepsake you touch when I'm not around, you lose your breath for missing someone in another town. Why would I wanna know? Why would I wanna know? Why would I wanna know about a heart split in two? Why would I wanna hear how well she understands you? Why would I wanna feel like I'm fool? Why would I wanna know for certain what I already do? Why would I wanna know? Why would I wanna know? Truth ain't always a gift laid out in the light. No, some things are better kept in the dark of night. Your fingers flutter across your lips like they belong to someone else. You're humming old love songs when you think you're by yourself, only half paying attention what's going on at home. Never leave a room without picking up your phone. I'll never ask you to say what's bound to only hurt us more. Said no strings at the start, but that was years ago, and I don't wanna know. No, I don't wanna know. 'Cause why would I wanna know about a heart split in two? Why would I wanna hear how well she understands you? Why would I wanna feel like I'm playing the fool? Why would I wanna know for certain what I already do? Why would I wanna know? Why would I wanna know? No, I don't. Said I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know. When you know it's time to start over, when you know it's time to start again, how do you do it? How do you take the first step out the door and do it without knowing what those steps are for? When you know it's no good what you've been holding fast, when you know it's killing you, trying to things last? How do you do it? How do you take that first step out the door and do it without knowing what those steps are for? It's times like this I wish I could close my eyes and disappear. Held tight and still for once and safe, hidden from my simple fears. And find you, rewind to easier days. Oh gosh. Just had it. When the cup is running over, but it doesn't satisfy. Well, how do you do it? How do you take that first step out the door and do it without knowing what those steps are for? Well, it's times like this I wish I could close my eyes and disappear. Held tight and still for once and safe, hidden from my simple fears. And find you, rewind to easier days.
Thank you. I'm going to end this set on a Butch Hancock tune. And last night in Austin, we had the, I don't know how manyth Townes Van Zandt birthday salute that used to be at the Cactus Cafe every year, and Butch Hancock always hosted it, and it used to be so kind of last minute. You know, somebody would call you and say, a couple weeks before, and say, "You're coming, right?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And then they'd kind of discuss some songs that you should think about playing, but you learned after the first year not to pay any attention to that, because once you got there, you'd figure out who was really singing what, and who only knew one song, so they really couldn't change, and you couldn't blow their cover, so there were probably, 8 or 10 of us who were kind of super Townes nerds, and you would just get, well, hey, do this song, and say, okay, and then say, and they go, and do it in A, so I can play along. It's like, well, that's kind of gonna be a rough key for me, and it's like, oh, it's a good key, that'd be the kind of thing that they would say to you. Oh, okay, but Butch was there last night, of course, holding court, and he got a little frazzled at the beginning, and somebody said, was joking and said, like, "What's wrong, Butch? Are you tired?" And he goes, "Well, a little bit." And then he just kept going, high energy Butch. He had just flown in from New Zealand, like the day before or something, and was just like doing this show. And I was like, you people have no idea. This man is Superman, and he hasn't aged for like the last 30 years. It's crazy. But anyway, he's one of my all-time songwriting heroes, and And this is a song of his that I started covering a long time ago. And the first time he heard me sing it was over in Okema at Woody Fest a bunch of years ago. And he came, that night in the parking lot. He said, that was a very different version of my song that you do. And I said, yeah, it is. And he said, I seem to remember that I played that song with 4 chords. And I said, yep. He goes, you only seem to need 3. And I said, yeah. And he goes, And that's all he would say about it. And I was like, okay, I guess he doesn't like it, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway.
Well, I gave all my money to the banker today. Now I got no more money to spend. The banker smiled when I walked through the door. When I left, he said, come back again. And I watched those lonesome boxcar wheels driving down the tracks out of town. And it's on those lonesome railroad tracks I'm gonna lay my burden down. Well, I looked for my old man at the lost and found, but he'd already been claimed. And I'm gonna find me another ticket to ride to a town that ain't never been named. Well, nobody cares where I'm going tonight. Darling, if the truth be told, I'm going down to that railroad track to watch them lonesome boxcars roll. I was raised on a farm first years of my life, and life it was pretty good, they say, and I'll probably live to a ripe old age if that dirty dog death will stay out of my way. Well, this world, it can take my money and it can take my time, but it sure can't take my soul. So I'm going down to that railroad track, watch them lonesome boxcars roll. Christ, and I'm gonna park my camel by an old haystack, and I'll be searching for that needle all night. Well, there ain't gonna be no radial tires turning down the streets of gold, so I'm going down to that railroad track to watch them lonesome boxcars roll. If you've ever heard that whistle on a fast freight train, beating out a beautiful tune, and if you've ever seen that cold blue railroad track shining by the light of the moon, and if If you've ever felt that locomotive shake the ground, I know you don't need to be told why I'm going down to that railroad track. Why I'm going down to that railroad track. Why I'm going down to that railroad track to watch them lonesome boxcars roll.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I will be back there in just a minute and happy to meet you. I've got lots of stuff for sale, but you don't have to buy anything. You can just come say hi. All right, I'll see you soon. All of you who run arts organizations are thinking the same thing, which is, that's brilliant. Because if a couple people here don't already know about Miss Brown to you or Susan Gibson, they're going to come for the next story. I mean, I would. I'd come for the next story. That was incredible. I was not ready for that. Well, the last time that I was in this building, I was here with two gal pals of mine. We were in a band for about 5 minutes called Nobody's Girl. Grace Pettis and Rebecca Loebe. And we were in a band called Nobody's Girl, which now is the title of a much more famous book. But we used to live within 5 minutes of each other, and during the pandemic, each of them moved a little bit further away, and so that was kind of the last gasp for a group that based all its songwriting on trading harmonies and lead vocals within each song. That was a little hard to do on Zoom, so that was kind of the end of that. But we did write songs that we are still proud of, and I talk to them pretty often. And this is one that we wrote. We got together in my living room one day and we're talking about hard family stuff, stuff that each of us had survived, and then stuff that you learn later in life. And one of them her family had discovered an old journal on the family homestead, and deep in the journal, there was a record that her family had owned slaves on the homestead where they still live. And not her immediate family, but, relatives of hers. And it really kind of soured the whole feeling of going back for reunions or anything else, because why do you want to stand on that land? And then realizing that everywhere we step foot on in this country is that land. And kind of the impossible work that we still have to somehow do of facing the sins of every single family and trying to wash it in light to find something better,
Number one mom, handing out water on the sidelines to the team. Right there, standing in the bleachers when they crowned my sister queen. Right there, left his father's bronze star in a case on his nightstand. But most of what his daddy gave him was the back of his hand. He was a war hero and a real fair boss and a church-going man. The bruises fade, but it never stops hurting where the punches land. What do you do? What do you do with that? With that right beneath the surface, you're just starting to crack the answers to the questions you don't know how to ask yourself. Like, how do you carry what you can't give back? All you've inherited after the fact. What do you do? What do you do with that? Your family came to this country in chains, to a place that didn't care where they were from, and then tried to erase their names. And my family still lives on the land we bought with blood and shame. And when our kids start asking, what will we tell them? How will we explain that right beneath the surface we're just starting to scratch the answers to the questions we don't know how to ask ourselves? Like, how do we carry what we can't give back? And all we've inherited after the fact. What do you do? What do you do with that?
It's the coolest thing in the whole world. I'll do one more Nobody's Girl song. We wrote this song when we were in Ireland. At the time, Grace's mother was a professor at the University of Limerick. She was a Yeats scholar, which, you know, as an American, being hired by an Irish university as a Yeats scholar is kind of brag-worthy, you know. And before we went over there, Grace's mother and I, you know, because I was an English major nerd, and sometimes we'd talk poems or books, and she had emailed me before we went over and said, BettySoo, I just want you to know that you'll be sleeping in William Yeats's bed because it's on loan at my house from the family. And I was like, It's because because Meg and I have this special bond, and we talk poems and stuff, you know. And then we got there, and I realized that it was really because William Yeats's bed is 5 feet long. As am I. But that experience also made me realize all you normal to tall people, you're accustomed to reaching the ends of your bed all the time. That's a terrible thing. I feel so sorry for all of you. I go around in the waking world feeling sorry for myself for being short, but my God, when we get horizontal, do I have it on all of y'all. Oh, I had no idea. It's like sleeping in a child's bed. You guys, that's what you guys still do. It's terrible. I mean, if I were normal sized, I'd probably sleep diagonally. Not probably, I definitely would, because I slept in Yeats's bed diagonally. But anyway, we were there, and we're sitting there in this beautiful living room. It's got a giant picture window on the side looking at the Irish countryside. You know, I mean, it's like stereotypical spongy green earth with, you know, birds flitting around. And insane color, super saturated color. And Rebecca and I are looking out the window, and we're hearing that wonderful sound coming from the kitchen of people putting together the world's largest charcuterie board. And we're like, we are so lucky. God, we're so lucky. And then it occurred to us, and then like we can hear Grace and her mother giggling, and then we were like, oh, that's so sweet. And then it occurred to us, like, oh my God, Grace never gets to see her mother because her mother lives across the ocean, and we are taking all of their family time by being a band, setting up in their living room and trying to write songs. Like, we are so selfish. And we just discussed how, you know, what a special gift it is when two adult generations get to share a roof and nobody has to be the caretaker, you know. And that started this song called Lark.
First you learn to breathe. Nobody has to teach you. Then you learn to walk. Now nobody can reach you. Where you're running to. Does ivy need to climb, or is it just her ocean? To leave the ground behind, lingering and lonesome. Where you're running to, where you're running to. Run wild, run free, run to where you need to be. Maybe one day you'll run home. Lark upon a ledge sings into the morning. Where'd you leave your nest? Did you wing off without warning? Where you running to? Where you running to? Run wild, run free, run to where you need to be. tide goes rushing out and the bumblebees return. Geese go flying south and April sky storm. Where you running to? Where you running to? Where you running to?
I did include a couple of songs on my new record that I didn't write. And one of them is by my friend Ralston Bowles, who lives in Michigan. But that one's kind of hard to do without a band. So I won't. There are certain songs that if you try to do them without a band, even if it is coming across okay, you'll never know because you're just going to feel like a cruise ship entertainer in that side whiskey bar. Not like in the nice theater. You know who I'm talking about. The one who does not know if he is winning the war with the melting ice sculpture for most entertaining item in the room. But I will say, I've got several friends who are amazing professional musicians who did their time doing that kind of gig on cruise ships for years. And they don't take anything personally. They're the most for agreements evolved humans you have ever met in your life. But the other cover I put on my record is one by James McMurtry. And who it would not surprise me if some of you discovered me through being fans of James, because I travel a lot with him. But this is a song of his that came from a record that I really, really loved from many years ago called St. Mary of the Woods. The title song of that record is so freaking good, and I have no idea what it's about, but it's so good. But this song, I know that a lot of his fans heard it one way, but for me, I always imagined this song as a duet. And as a duet, it means this whole other thing. And luckily, he wasn't disgusted by that idea. And because sometimes, somebody's like, I think your song could mean this. And it's like, okay. I guess so, yeah. No, he was intrigued by it and recorded it with me. So it was really fun to sing it together, and it's been fun to perform it together. But he's not here because it takes more money than I have to bring him out of the house. So, but you'll just have to imagine this song as a duet.
not a hot cup of coffee, nor a cold glass of tea ever crossed your lips in my company. Straight bourbon whiskey was all we'd abide. So let's not hold back now, we got nothing to hide. So much we savored and so much we missed. You know I never meant you to see me like this. Just a faint distant flicker from the last of the storm. Now a taste of that liquor could do me no harm. Light me a candle, light me a fire. Come sit by the window in the gray dawn. From best of intentions to the worst of desires, leave by the Gulf Road in the gray dawn. So take a short-handled shovel and take a long-handled hoe and cover my bones when the west wind blows. Smooth it off even and pack it down hard. Well, I'll no more be here, but I'll never be far. Yeah, I'll no more be here, but I'll never be far. So light me a candle, oh, light me a fire. Come sit by the window where the shades drawn. To the best of intentions and the worst of desires, we'll leave by the Gulf Road in the gray dawn. Yeah, we'll leave by the Gulf Road in the gray dawn. Thank you very much. he writes a lot of sad songs too.
I remember James very rarely comes out to the merch table to say hello and do a little meet and greet, and people think it's because he's, grumpy or something. He's just extreme. I may not seem like it, but I'm actually a pretty shy person, but he's like painfully shy. So, you probably have somebody in your family who's painfully shy, and it just like it hurts them, to have to go out and meet people. So of course they seem grumpy because it's painful, but I can't remember why I was starting to say this. There was a point to this story. Oh, I remember. So one of the, sometime in the last year, one night, I think maybe I was feeling kind of exhausted or something, and so he came out to give me moral support at the end of the show, and he came out to the merch table. Everybody was so excited, and then they abused me a little bit less, and not everybody's as friendly as the Norman Depot, there's a lot more alcohol consumption at a James McMurtry show, so people, they get a little rowdy. But somebody had said, like, man, girl, you need to learn from James, you write such sad songs. And I was like, well, James's songs are pretty sad, and he goes, oh no, man, but just think about Choctaw Bingo. And James goes, oh, the one where the narrator has a strange celebration of incest. And the guy just went, it had never occurred to him that James didn't celebrate the same things as the speaker in the song, it's like, and James was like, what do they think I am, I was like, you probably don't want to know, man. Well, this song, I gotta say, have you ever been on like a really long road trip with somebody and you've gotten about halfway done and thought, I've made a terrible mistake, I definitely have, and I actually wrote this song because I was on tour and I had gone out with a friend, and we had been on the road about a week and a half, and I realized that I didn't have that feeling. And I was so grateful. And at the time, it felt so foreign and magical. And so the first thing I did was write a song about the other feeling.
By the time we got to Richmond, I was somewhere else. My mind was reeling down a different road. You could see through what I felt. By the time we pulled into Charlotte and threw our bags on the bed, you went and said a word in ours, and I had torn my nails to shreds. And it's dark with the blackouts drawn tight. I can't tell from here if it's 10 in the morning or the middle of the night. it's so dark with the blackout strong. By the way, you veered into that lot and dragged so hard the ashes raced to your lips. Well, I knew you had so much to say, you just couldn't find the words to do your anger justice. And by the way, I know I haven't said enough that I believe in who you are. No, and now it's too late. It just fall empty like the bottles in the back seat of your car. And it's dark with the blackout strung tight. Can't tell from here if it's 10 in the morning or the middle of the night. We're gonna lie here together like nothing's wrong at a window unit moan in its own sad song, and it's dark. Baby, it's so dark with the blackout strong. Yeah, we'll just lie here together like nothing's wrong at a window unit moan in its own sad song, and it's dark. Baby, it's so dark with the blackout strong.
Thank you. I stopped at a Pilot on the way here, and I got the world's largest iced tea, which is a tactical error, as you all know. Although it does allow for a pretty thorough survey of the rest of the gas stations between that Pilot and your destination. But at that Pilot, I was standing in the Haribo gummy candy aisle. It feels like there's like an entire aisle now of just Haribo gummies, and I'm not complaining. But I was standing there, and Tina Turner came on. And right when I went, it was like the classic, I was like, this is what all those memes are written for. It's for this moment when I went, what's love? And then it went totally silent. I'm like, gotcha. And there was like a woman stocking the shelves, and she turned to me and she goes, mm-hmm. And I was like, I was on pitch. I didn't say that, but I thought it. In real life, I just went. But in my mind, I was like, I was on pitch. Okay, no, I wasn't even like that in my mind. It was like 30 minutes later down the road, I was like, I should have been like, I was on pitch. But I didn't. I just went. And like grabbed the first bag of Haribo and like went to the counter. And luckily it was one that I liked because I didn't even look. I was just so mortified. And it was so weird because I was thinking, why would you get, like, why do we get mortified? It's so weird. It takes nothing to embarrass us, you know? And yet I look around at the world and it feels like nothing can embarrass some people. Anyway, I'm going to do just a couple more songs and then let you face the rest of your Sunday scaries on your own. I don't even have a day job, and I get Sunday scaries. It's so weird. Well, this is one of the ones that I started recording with Will back in I think it was like 2011 or something. And I had written it a little time before when one of my best friends had to go in for treatment for a really long time, and there were times during her treatment that she was really kind of out of touch with everybody in the world but me. And so I would get her weekly call, or I would go out and visit her, and there were a couple months where every time I would talk to her or visit her, the entire contents of our conversation would be, what was edible at lunch that day, or who annoyed her in group therapy, or a new board game that was brought in or something. Just really nothing. And then one day I was visiting her, and I brought her some croissants from this local bakery, and she'd said, at the end of we hung out for like an hour, and at the end of the hour she goes, thanks for the croissants. Maybe one day I'll have a bakery or something. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. And then I went to my car and I sobbed because it was the first time in many months that she had referred to herself in the future. And she didn't end up with a bakery, but she's doing really well all these years later. But I wrote this song for her, and it's called Dreams.
You've come a long, hard way, but still some days you still feel all on your own. Other days you wish you'd gotten clean alone. Months of tears you didn't notice when your fears of every crushing sunrise replaced your dreams inside. It's time for longing, hope and wanting, wishes and yearning for the dreams that burn in you. I know it feels like make-believe when dreams seem so far out of reach, but that's the thing about dreams. I know love left you low, but that's all I know. A bigger story there, but we never talked about the hard things until you locked me out. But now somehow you're making an art of laying open your broken heart. And it's time for longing, hope and wanting, wishes and yearning for the dreams that burn in you. I know it feels like make-believe when dreams seem so far out of reach, but that's the thing about dreams. It's time for longing, hope and wanting, wishes and yearning for the dreams that burn in you. I know it feels like make-believe when dreams seem so far out of reach. But that's the thing about dreams.
I think I'm going to close us out on this song. I think we are about at that time, aren't we? I'm really bad about putting a clock up here and then not looking at it when I start my set, and then sometime later going, oh, shoot. But it feels about that time. By the way, thank you so much to everybody who's worked so hard to put this show on and take care of me, and all the folks who, whether your name is up there or not, who you come and support this series, or sometimes buy a ticket for a friend or something. It really means a lot to traveling artists to be able to play in a place that cares this much about what we do. And especially when you got so many other cool things going on in the week here. I'm like, you still want us? That's so nice. But this song was written not in this state, but by someone who y'all are familiar with. 78 years ago as a poem. And then I think a couple decades later, a musician in, I think in Milwaukee, actually put it to melody and brought it to Pete Seeger, and he said, that's a cool melody for that poem, and played it for Woody Guthrie, and Woody liked it and recorded it. I don't think he was the first one to actually record his own song, but as a song. But anyway, I wish it sounded like a 78-year-old relic of a poem, but unfortunately, this exact flight was mentioned again by our federal government. And again, they recognized only the white people who perished on the plane, repeating the same sin of 78 years ago. So I'll leave you on this one in my normal happy fashion. But just know that we can all be happy and sad. You know, we can hold both things. Also, the sound is so good in here. Thank you so much. You haven't thought about him all night because he's doing such a great job, but if it sucked, you'd have thought about him for the last 2 hours. So thank you for being a miracle worker.
Well, the crops are all in, and the peaches are rotting. The oranges are piled in their creosote dumps, and they're taking you back to the Mexican border to spend all your money just to come back again. Well, my father's own father, he waded that river, and they took all the money he made in his life. And my brothers and sisters, come to work in the fruit trees. And they rode in those trucks till they laid down and died. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalina, adios mis amigos, Jesús y María. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, 'cause all they will call you will be deportees. Yeah, some of us are illegal, and some just unwanted. Our work contract's up and we gotta move on. You know it's 600 miles to that Mexican border, and they chase us like outlaws, like rustlers, like thieves. So we died in your hills and we died on your deserts. We died in your valleys and we died on your plains. We'll die beneath your trees and we'll die in your bushes. Both sides of that river will die just the same. Goodbye to my Juan, goodbye Rosalina, adios mis amigos, Jesús y María. You won't have a name when you ride the big airplane, 'cause all they will call you will be deportees. That sky plane caught fire over Los Gatos Canyon. It was a fireball of lightning that shook all these hills. Now who are these friends, all scattered like dry leaves? You know the radio said, oh, they're just deportees. So is this the best way to grow our big orchards? And is this the best way to grow our good fruit? To have friends fall like leaves just to rot on the topsoil and be known by no name except deportees.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate you. I'd love to meet you guys. Thank you.